Hello, my sweet friend. It's Christina, and welcome to a new episode of the Art Cake Coach podcast. Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to the Art Cake Coach podcast. My name is Cristina Revalo. I'm a sugar paste modeling artist, a teacher, a coach for cake artists, Cake Friends Day creative community manager, award-winning cake decorator, and representative of international cake competitions. I'm so happy to have you here. If you are a cake artist, a cake enthusiast, or a baker who is seeking some help in anything related to your time management, social media management, setting your goals for yourself or your business, your mindset towards your business, or even a few hints of how to be part of the international cake community, cake collaboration, and cake competitions, you are in the right place. So, welcome to today's episode. Well, hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to another episode of the RK Coach podcast. Christina here. Today, this intro is very short because what you have next is a beautiful interview with the very lovely Yvonne Donald. Yvonne was the first person who answered the call that I opened for cake artists to come into the show and to tell their story. She sent me all her ideas. She answered a few questions that I asked for before the interview, and I was just fascinating of how much her journey is similar to mine, even though we didn't know each other. She saw the post on Instagram. She wasn't even part of Cake Friends Stay Creative. Now she's part of the family, and all of the things that she mentioned resonated so much with me that I had to bring her on the show. So today is her true testimony about how she manages her business, how she manages her life, and how she has succeeded in this path as cake artist and juggling not only that but a very very full and busy life. So I really hope that you listen to her, that you take away a lot from today's episode, and that you stay with us until the end because it's going to be a lovely one. Without further ado, here is the interview with my sweet and dear friend that I can call friend now, Yvonne. As your cake coach, I am here to help you. If you want to go a little bit further in your journey to organize your time, set clear goals, maybe teach, work on your mindset, or set a roadmap for results, especially for results and success, I am here for you. Why don't you book a free discovery call with me? I will be leaving the links here in this episode so we can chat, we can talk about what you really need, and we can see if we're a good fit for each other. Remember, I have just one mission in this cake world. First is to unite the cake community as one and to make you, my cake artist, my sweet friend, understand the importance of investing in you. Like I said, I will be leaving the links here in the description of this episode so you can book a 30 minutes free discovery call with me. And just remember, in case nobody said this to you today, I do appreciate you and I want you to stay safe and stay creative. Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to another episode of the Art K Coach podcast. Christina here. I'm so happy to have you all here, and I'm so happy to have this sweet Yvonne here with us today. How are
Hello,
you,
hi.
sweetie?
I'm good, thank you. Just a bit warm because it's very warm in the UK. Sweating, but I'm good, thank you. Yeah,
It
great.
is hot here in Portugal too. It must
Yeah,
have to do with the Greenwich Meridian time, but it
yeah.
is hot here as well. It is.
Yeah.
It's so happy to have you here. Let me just give you a background to the audience about what is Yvonne doing here. I sent an invitation, an open invitation, a few weeks back to all of the people, the audience, the people of the community to participate in the RK Coach podcast because what I wanted is to listen to the stories of all of us, not just the famous ones, not just the ones that we look up to, but everyday bakers, cake decorators, cake artists that have gone through everything possible from starting from scratch to building businesses to maybe not succeeding to succeeding again to winning prizes, all of this. And Yvonne reached out to me, and she wanted to participate. I listened to her story, and I said, we need Yvonne today here in the show because she has so much to that is going to be positive for so many people. You're going to relate so much with everything she's going to say today that I'm so happy to have you here, Yvonne.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm glad that you're here. Okay, so let's start this. Yvonne, tell us a little bit about, I mean, this is the usual question.
Mhm.
How and why did you started in this crazy business of cake decoration?
Okay, so my name's Yvonne and I run a business called Cake and Cupcakery and I'm based in Birmingham in the UK. And I got into cake because my background is hospitality, so I'm a trained chef. And I started doing cakes as a hobby. So I started off as a hobbyist, was making cakes for friends and family. It started to get busier, and then I abruptly stopped making cakes because I wanted to concentrate on my career as a chef, and that is what I did. So started off as a little YTS student, became a common chef, a chef de partie, and then a head chef. And I just felt like chefs should be able to bake cakes, but little did I realise that actually a lot of chefs don't actually bake cakes. So I wanted to do it as a hobby, and like I said, I abruptly stopped it. And then one of my sisters asked me to make a cake for my little nephew who was 5 at the time. And I said, sure, I can do that. I've still got all the equipment, so I'll give it a go. And once I baked that first cake, that was it. I was hooked. I was back in the game, back in the cake making game. And that's how I initially started.
It's funny because I think I mentioned this before with you. When I hear the stories, we usually start our cake business around that. We have a daughter, a kid, a nephew,
Mm,
somebody that needs
yeah,
a cake, and we
yeah,
go for it, and then we never look back, right?
yeah, yeah,
Usually
definitely,
that's the thing. But you
definitely.
do have the chef training, and that is
Yeah.
one of the things that I loved about your story because you
Hmm.
come from I mean, a lot of cake artists and cake decorators in our industry just started, you know,
Mm-hmm.
home
Yeah,
home bakers or
yeah,
moms or parents
yeah,
who decided to give it a go, and they decided, oh, I have this, I can do it, so let's see what happens. But you come from a different background. Do you
yeah.
think coming from that background of being a chef made you organize this as a business from the
Absolutely.
get-go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was a chef, when you
Hmm.
work in a professional kitchen, there's different disciplines within the kitchen. So you specialise in different areas. And I really loved patisserie. Love, love, love patisserie. And we were trained in the classical French cookery style. So our qualifications at the time were a 7061, 7062. And because I love patisserie, doing cakes just came quite naturally to me. So where some people are really self-taught and they're starting from scratch, I had a bit of a underpinning knowledge of certain patisserie techniques. But I think running the kitchen, working in the kitchen, you have to be so organised and manage your time so well that I think it gave me an added advantage when I've been running it myself as a part-time business. Yeah, because my business, if I didn't mention before, is a part-time business, so I actually work full-time as well. So yeah, it definitely added an advantage to be able to do both. Yeah.
Oh, I love that you say that because it is I mean, it happens to me too. I always had another work. I've been an
Mm,
ESL English teacher for a long time. I
mm,
never stopped. So it always has been a part time
yeah.
job
Yeah.
and being able to manage. And you just mentioned two of my favorite words: time management and
Yeah.
organization.
Yes,
I love those
absolutely.
words. And
Absolutely.
it makes a whole difference, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, especially, I mean, running a business, and a lot of the time with cake makers, we're one man bands, aren't we? So we're just the sole person that is running the business. So we're doing the baking, the social media, the delivery, the accounts. We're doing so many different aspects of it.
Mhm.
You have to be super organized and throw into the mix that you're going to be working full time or you're managing a family or you're a carer. There's lots of other things that could come into play. So for me, I have to be super, super organized. And I've had to make so many changes over the years to my business because of this. When you start, you think, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And you realize actually I'm close to burnout, I'm working too late, I'm not enjoying it. And so you have to make certain changes. And that's where I love organization and time management, definitely.
Oh, love it. Love it. That's music to my ears because I'm a big advocate of that.
Yeah.
And as we talked before, it's like how many people just don't take that into a consideration,
Yeah.
and they keep, pushing, spreading themselves too thin,
Yeah.
burning the midnight oil, all of all of
Definitely.
those
Yeah.
things that you can think of, and they are
Yeah.
baking until late at night or early in the morning. They're tired,
Yeah.
and that shows in the final product, because it does.
Mm,
You're just tired and stressed and overworked.
yeah.
um Going back to the when you were mentioning that this is a you have two businesses, or it was a part-time
Yeah.
job, and the
Yeah.
organization was important to you.
Hmm.
um, Thinking about business, because most of the people, and that's something that I hear a lot in the audience, of the RK coach, and the feedbacks, and from the groups you're now part of, the
Yeah.
Crystal
Yeah.
Creative. I saw you there. Welcome to the
Yeah.
family.
Thank
And
you.
most of the people there just they don't see themselves. Oh, you're most welcome, but they don't see what they do as a business.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that caught my attention from what you wrote to me and when you contact me is, it's so important to have that business mind, and how
Definitely.
far that business mind has taken you. Can you
Yeah.
share that with their listeners?
Yeah.
How important that is, and what difference does that make?
I think if you are making money from the product that you're making or the service that you're making, you are in business. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. People have said to me, "Oh, when are you going to start running your business properly?" I'm sorry. Am I not paying tax? Am I not earning money? Am I not making a profit? I'm running my business. So don't let people dictate to you what business looks like. If your business to you looks like just making 2 cakes a week, that is your business you're running. If you're making 10 cakes a week, you're running a business. Don't let people dictate what they perceive a successful business to be. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're not working in my kitchen with me, making 100 cupcakes on a hot summer's day and getting paid for it, then you ain't running a business, and you certainly cannot tell me what a business is or not. So I think it doesn't matter how small it is, it's a business. If you're getting paid for it, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Oh, amen
Mm.
to that. Because it's true. People think it's just, oh, let me just make some money aside with this.
No.
But like you said, at the point when you start making money with whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
treat it like a
Yeah.
business.
And I
And
think
you
people just
mentioned so many key elements in there. Uh, yeah.
no, sorry. I was going to say, I think people just get the perception because they're baking from
Mhm.
home that they're not a business, and I think it's sometimes it's society's sort of like perception of what they perceive it to be. And I think don't get caught up in what other people think. Just focus on yourself and understand that you are running a little. Well, it might be little, it might be medium, it might be large, yeah. But as long as you're getting paid, you're running a business, yeah.
I think the vast majority of our listeners are in that situation,
Mm,
feeling, this is too small to call it a business, or I'm just
mm,
from home. I don't have my bakery, or I don't have
mm,
a space. I always say it here in the podcast. I never had a space. I always worked from home.
mm, mm,
When I taught in other people's spaces, or I
mm,
rented a space to teach.
mm,
So it's doable, but still, it has to be a business. And you
mm,
mentioned so many important elements that people overlook. A lot of
mhm,
people overlook. Of course, not only the organization and the time management, but making sure that you're making money, that you're
mhm,
making a profit, that you're paying your
mm.
taxes, that you're doing your social media. All of that is part
Yeah,
of the business.
yeah.
And a lot of people overlooked it, or
Mm,
feel so scared about that they just
mm,
freeze and just like,
mm,
no, let me just keep charging, you know, very little
mm,
money for what I do, because it's just, it's for my friends. And
mm.
one of the things that I loved about what you wrote to me is how much you see everything as a business. So share
Definitely.
with us your business, because it's not just one, it's there are two, right?
Yeah, right. Okay. So when I first started my business, I used to just make celebration cakes, and it was called Cake, Kake, and that's what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, cupcakes blew up. Cupcakes became so popular through Sex and the City, the program that was attributed to making cupcakes popular. And then in America, they were just blowing up. So you had sprinkles, cupcakes, and more cupcakes, and all these different lovely bakeries. And I thought, I want to make cupcakes, but I don't want to make them very highly stylized. So back in I think it was about 2014, 2013, there was a lady in the UK and she had a business called Karina's Cupcakes. And she made the most beautiful ornate cupcakes. They had ruffles on and lustered pearls on, very, very pretty. But I couldn't understand why somebody would want to buy a cupcake like that, spend all that time making this beautiful work of art for somebody just to peel off the icing and then just eat the cake and throw everything else away. So because I was looking a lot at the American market and especially Georgetown Cupcake, who were a massive inspiration to me, people were buying cupcakes for celebrations, weddings, or every day. But the difference was that they were flavoured. They were focusing on the flavour rather than what they looked like. And because with my chefy background and I love flavour and I love texture, I thought, well, I think that's something that could appeal to me and my market rather than making something really highly stylised. So I launched another business called Cupcakery. And my plan was just to have a look at how both of them performed. So whichever part of the business was more successful was going to be the one area that I concentrated on. But unbeknownst to me, both of areas were just as popular. So what I decided to do is merge them together, and that's where Cake and Cupcakery was born. So I do the contemporary celebration cakes and then the artisan cupcakes, and I tend to focus more on the flavour of them rather than making them highly stylised and decorated. And then I've started doing a little bit of passive income stuff with some books to help cake makers. But yeah, but that's what I've been doing, and all that alongside a full-time job. Yeah.
It's like, come on, she's superwoman. If you don't believe it, I do. It's like you really, I mean, and you publish books to help
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
bakers
I've made a
with
few.
their
Yeah.
journey as cake decorators.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
And she finds time, people. She finds time for
Yeah.
everything. So if the
Yeah.
next person that tells me I don't have time, it's a lie. You do have time. You
Yeah.
don't have the same 24 hours that Yvonne has, and
Yeah.
she does it. We can do it as well. You're what
Yeah.
an example. What an example to follow.
Thank
And
you.
I love that your focus is on flavors and taste,
Yeah.
because a lot of, let's say, a lot of the complaints that I heard from clients
Mm-hmm.
about cake decoration, the kind of cake decoration we do, is the cake was beautiful, but it was tasteless. It's like
Yeah.
it didn't taste like anything. The feelings were like blah,
Yeah.
or it was hard, So it's so important to never lose focus of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned something that I love. It is that you decided to write these books to
Mm.
help your fellow cake
Yeah.
decorators, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Okay.
I love a person who helps their community. You know that. So tell
Yeah,
me about
so
it.
with my hospitality chefing background, we have to follow a certain amount of processes within the workplace called HACCP, which is Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. And this is basically food safety from the time your order comes through the door till the customer eats it. So there's different processes, there's temperature checking, and I do with all this, and I've been doing it for years. So within our cake businesses, obviously we have to do the same thing, not to the same extent, but we still do have an obligation to follow food safety really closely. And so I had a folder with my forms in, etc. And then I found that people were releasing like temperature control books. And I thought, wow, I can do that because I've got the knowledge to do it. So during the pandemic, so I think it was 2021 when we was probably in lockdown 450 or whatever, I used that time to think, okay, I'm going to teach myself Amazon KDP and I'm going to put a book together that's got all the forms that we need to run an ambient business. So whether it's your food, whether it's cake decorating or whether you make fudge or whether you do something with sugar, it's all ambient. So it's not for hot food production. And it's basically forms. So the first form will be your goods received. So when you have buy your flour and your sugar and your eggs and your nuts and all this, you write down the batch number so you can keep a track just in case there's any product recalls. You can write down the allergens, which are very important. So you can write down the allergens in each ingredient. Then you've got pre-service checklist and cleaning checklist and a stock sheet in there. Everything that I need to run my business. And I thought, well, if I need it, somebody else will need it. So that's the first little book that I did. And then the second
Love
little
it.
book was just
Hmm.
like a little weekly planner. So I love a list. I don't know if anybody else is like me. I love a paper and a pen, and I like to cross things things out. So I always make lists when I'm doing my cake
Oh, I
decorating.
think I know somebody like
Yeah, so I like to write lists when I'm cake decorating
that.
and plan things out, especially at Christmas time when it's super busy. So I just made this little book, and it's called um,
Yeah.
bake cover finish deliver. And the reason why I called it bake cover finish deliver, because that's the mantra that I use when I'm baking. So I bake on day one, I cover on day two, I finish on day three, and I deliver on day four. So that's why I called it, and that's the process that I follow when I'm making my cake. So I just made this little planner for you to write down. Okay, today I've got to make 2 by 6 inch vanilla cakes, 200 chocolate cupcakes, some blueberry blondies, and you can just plan everything out. And I've got to cover a board, I've got to make some flowers, and you just put everything in one place, and then you can just cross it out when you're done. And those are the two little books that I've made for the community. Yeah, and they're available to buy on Amazon. So yeah, so it's just something that I just taught myself alongside everything else, and that's what I've put on Amazon, a bit of passive income. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm in love with this because it's these little details of
Mm,
information that a
mm,
lot of people in our business overlooks.
yeah.
They either only they're only focused on, I don't know, in the baking and the social media, or they're only
Mm,
focusing on taking as many courses on the next technique and the next,
yeah.
I don't know, decoration technique, or buying
Mm,
thousands of cookie cutters and
mm,
investing in this. And everything that Yvonne has just mentioned is
mhm,
essential to
mm,
really shift your mind from being just a home baker, which
mm.
has like thousands of drawers full of cookie cutters, to having a business, to
Yeah.
really having a business. I mean, and with your books, you're covering safety, which is
Mm,
so important. A
mhm.
lot of bakers, home bakers, overlook that part, and
Yeah.
that can get you in a lot of trouble,
Oh,
sadly, if
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
overlook to that.
Yeah.
And second, out that 4 day, it's funny because I have that. I never read the book, but
Mm.
when I was listening to you, I was like, yeah, that's what I do, because I have this 4 day rule. It's like,
Yeah.
usually if I have to deliver a cake on Saturday, I
That's it.
start 4 days before. that's
Yeah.
that's the toppest that I start with.
Yeah.
And so it's similar to the process that you do, but I love that you broke it down in
Yeah.
this method. I love a
Mhm.
method, so I love that you broke it down into a method. Where
Yeah.
can people find your books? Tell
Yeah, so
us.
I'll send you a link, but they are available on Amazon. So if you put in either Cake and
Mm.
Cupcakery or Yvonne Donald, because when I first did the book, I put it under my own name, but I've done some little notebooks since then, and they're under my business name. So the notebooks are just part of my branding, and so I just created these like notebooks and to do books, and they're just simple for anybody. But yeah, but I'll send you a link, and then you could be able to share it with your listeners. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll include the link. So everyone who's listening, I'm going to include the link in the description of the episode, so
Brilliant.
you can go and check out the books.
Mm.
Love it. I mentioned something, of course, and the idea of helping the community with your business, right?
Mhm.
That is something that I mentioned that I love.
Mm.
And what is for you the importance of a strong and positive cake community? Because we talk a little bit about that behind scenes, but I
Yeah.
want everyone to listen what you have to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to. We're all so different, and there's this. I do a little podcast myself, and I've interviewed some people, and even with yourself, there are so many different cake makers, and we
Oh,
need
you spoiled it. I
so
was going
many.
to say the surprise. She also has a podcast.
Oh, sorry. But there's so many. Let's
It's
go back.
okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Let's go back. But there's so many different businesses, and there's so many different niches. I myself, I make cupcakes, and I make celebration cakes. I no longer do wedding cakes. I just made that decision in 2020 because there's some beautiful wedding cake businesses, and that's all they do. So don't be scared to niche down within your business. But I think having a cake community is so important because we can encourage each other. But at the same time, I've seen quite a lot of negativity within the cake community as well. I saw a lot of it during the pandemic, where some people were decided to carry on running their business. They were doing postal. They pivoted, which I absolutely thought was amazing. So these is people that were doing celebration cakes and whatever, and they decided to pivot, and they were absolutely doing amazing during the pandemic. Some people didn't like it, some people made comments about it. And I thought we should be supporting these people because we don't know what their circumstances are. They might be doing this to pay their next rent or their next mortgage payment like everybody else, but we need to support. And I think there's so many different varieties of people from all over the world that are doing this. There's no harm. There's no, I think, community over competition any day. There's no need to be fretful about what Mary down the road is doing because Mary's making cakes, but she's not making the cakes that you are making. You are making the cakes that you are making for the customers who want to buy from
Mm.
you. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. And we met, I mean, we talked before this episode and we
Yeah.
talk about this part, and she knows how much I love this because that is I mean, that is the motto of Cake for Stay Creative. That has been my
Mm.
drive, that has been my mission. Is like there's no way I cannot accept that happening anymore. That not nice competition or
Yeah.
people comparing themselves to others all the time.
Yeah.
There's room for everyone. You mentioned, I mean, you said something that is a key. Everyone, if you're listening,
Mhm.
take notes of this one. Do not be scared of niching down because
No.
you have, I mean, if you take your niche and you say, this is what I do, you're
Mhm.
going to be the go to person for that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
Definitely.
amazing. Like you, I stopped doing wedding cakes as well because
Mm.
it was too overwhelming for me. I
Yeah.
cannot deal with brides. There's people to deal with brides, not me. And like I said, there's businesses that just focus on that.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important. So take away that, everybody who's listening, niche your product. It's very
I
important. And forget about the competition. Everyone, there's room for everyone in
mm.
this industry.
I'm definitely a big fan of niching because I always think pick one thing and do it fantastically well. You don't have to do, if you ever go to a restaurant, I always like a restaurant that's got a really small menu. When they've got like 60 items, it overwhelms me. But I think just focus on one thing and do it fantastically well. And I've been doing cupcakes for ages and I still feel like I'm improving, always looking at ways to make it better. If you're doing wedding cakes, just do wedding cakes. And even within that market, you get some people that do weddings for alternative brides that don't want the traditional beautiful roses. They want something a bit more edgy, or you're going to have the romantic bride. So even within the wedding, when
Hmm.
you niche down, there is different areas of within that niche. But I will stay within my cupcakes and doing the celebration cakes and doing tiered wedding cakes was when I decided I wasn't going to do that. That was a massive relief for me. It was just something that I felt that I needed to do. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. It's like I also did. It was like a weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
A couple
Yeah.
days ago, actually, I had a call from a close friend. My niece, her friend is getting married, and she loved my cakes, but I have made her birthday cakes, and she's
Mm.
getting married. She wants me to make the cake. I was like, oh, don't do this to me, please, don't do this to me. She was laughing. It's like, oh yeah, you're going to do my wedding cake. I was like, no,
Yeah.
please don't. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it anyway, but just out of fun. It's
Mm.
different because I know her. But yeah, it is absolutely true what you say. Well, you
Yeah.
spoiled the surprise, but Miss Yvonne
Sorry.
has a
Sorry.
podcast as well.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. I love the no, it's okay. I'm kidding. I'm kidding you. I love to invite other podcasters. I love to invite other coaches to my podcast because it's a way to show the community that we're not competition. We're here to
No.
help each other and
Yeah.
to elevate our work together. If we make more noise together, a lot of people is going to hear what we have to say instead of breaking apart. And
Mm.
also, you mentioned something before we get into the podcast. I forget. I just remember that you mentioned about some not so nice groups during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is why Cake Friends Stay Creative was born because
Mm.
I was part of a group that I felt literally bullied in that group. That if you do not comment enough, if you do not participate enough, if you don't, comment on certain specific people enough, you're not part of the group. And I was like, no,
Mm.
no, we need to change this. We need to
Mm.
have a place where people feel like family. People feel like they're heard, even
Mm.
if they're just beginners, if they're just starting out.
Mm.
Um, of course, everything changed, and I'm not going to go talking a lot about that. There's an episode about Cake Friends Stay Creative if you want to go check it out. But that led me to all of this path, including the podcast. So, what led you to start your own podcast, and what is your podcast about? Tell us.
Okay, so firstly, I'm an avid podcast listener. I listen to so many podcasts, and I came across yours via the Sugarcraft Junkies, who was sharing some other cake podcasts, which was lovely. And so I came. That's how I came across your podcast, which is amazing. And because I'm an avid podcast listener, I wanted to have my own voice. So I participate in other groups, and when people ask for advice, everybody comments, and I was doing that. But I thought it'd be nice to have my own little voice, sharing my experience of running a part-time side hustle cake business, because I'm sure there's other people that are like me, working full-time and either want to start it or have started it
Yeah.
and don't know all the things that go. And I've learnt so much. I have had to make so many changes within my business regarding how I work and the justification for doing it, and things that I've done, i.e.,
Yeah.
supplying a coffee shop and then realizing actually that's not for me, but thinking that I should be doing it because that's what a successful business does. And a successful business does all these things. Actually, no, a successful business doesn't. And I was making myself unwell. I was, close to burnout. And you have to know what your limitations are. So all these experiences I wanted to share in the podcast,
Hmm.
but also I wanted to talk to other people that are just like us, that are everyday. They're not big superstars. They haven't got millions of followers on Instagram. They're just people that have got their head down, just like us, making cakes for amazing customers and doing amazing things. And I've spoken to some lovely people, and I'm hoping to have you on as well. I'm going to ask you here on the podcast if you'll be on
Of
my
course.
podcast.
Just tell me
Yeah.
when.
Yeah, so that's why I started it, and it only comes out once a month because I haven't got time to do any more episodes. But it's just my little place
Mhm.
on the interweb, just to talk about me running, and I hope it connects with other people that are hoping to start a business alongside a full-time job or are doing it. And just to let you know that actually it is feasible. You've just got to manage your time. You've just got to decide whether you're going to sit down and watch like Netflix for 5 hours, or you're going to spend that time working on your passion. So yeah, that's why I've started it. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. You mentioned that the other day, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Uh, well, in the name of the podcast, you forgot to tell us the name of your
Oh, yes,
podcast.
sorry. The name of the podcast is Adventures in Kakeland, and the name of it was come from a blog that I actually wrote in 2012 or 2013. I started this blog called Adventures in Kakeland around the same premise of me sharing my experience of running a side hustle cake business and speaking to other guests. And since podcast has got so popular, I thought I'm going to have a go. So I ordered a kit off Amazon. I did a bit of YouTube studying to learn how to do it, and the next thing you know, I've got a podcast. So that's how it started. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing because I'm listening to you, and it's like I'm listening to myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing
yeah.
you cannot learn from YouTube, I guess, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, a
Absolutely.
lot in common. Yeah,
I love it. I love it, and I love how I mean, how honest you are. That is, it's once a month because that's how much time I have
yeah,
to spend on the podcast, and it's
yeah,
great. I would say
yeah,
that to the community: commit to what you can. It doesn't have
yeah.
to be about what everybody else is doing. You also mentioned that about your business. I
Mm,
love that you talk about that because so many people get stuck in everybody else is doing it certain way, so I have to do it that way. If it doesn't work, you have to find your own
mm,
way.
you
And
do.
please go and listen to her podcast, and check out her episodes because it's an I mean, it's another perspective of the cake business. I mean, we all have our own voices. We all have something to share, and each of our stories are absolutely different. But everyday people, like you mentioned on your Instagram,
Mm,
everyday cake the creators who
yeah,
talk to you, who resonate with you,
mm,
and I love it. I also love podcasts. That's why I started
me
this one.
too.
And
Me
it's funny, I
too.
had a blog and then it changed into podcast,
Yeah, we've
just
got so
like
much in
yours.
common.
I guess is we just have to put the word out there. That's
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, definitely.
Definitely, definitely. um has mindset being an important part of managing everything that you do, and how
Oh yeah,
important, because I always have this this I always talk about this in the podcast, because when I mention the word mindset, especially especially when I'm coaching cake artists, when I mention the word mindset, they go like, "Ugh," like witchy spooky thing. It's like, no, 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 it's just the way
Yeah.
you're thinking. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not putting
Mm.
you to meditate with crystals and candles. You
Mhm.
could, but that's not what I'm doing. And for me is game changer. But I would
Yeah.
love for you to share that with our audience, because I mean, it's just me saying, it's like moms, when it's always the mom saying the thing and like, yeah, yeah, whatever, the mindset.
Mm.
But when you listen to somebody else saying it,
Yeah.
so how important is your mindset
Yeah.
for the
So
success of everything that you do?
for me, my mindset regarding my business has been the overall driver, I think, for me doing this business. I think between that and having a little bit of imposter syndrome at the same time have been the main drivers for mindset. Mindset enables me to think big. So when I first started this business was going to be a national business. It was going to be have a shop in Manchester, Birmingham and London. It was going to be a massive conglomerate, and this is how I was going to run it. And that's the mindset I've had. And then over the years, my why I do the business has changed. But at the same time, the underlying mindset way of thinking is this is my business and I want it to do fantastically well. And you can go on social media and you can see other people doing that and you can get deterred because somebody's got 10,000 followers, or they're doing this amazing stuff, and it's like, no, keep your mindset in check. There's some amazing books out there to do with mindset. There's one by Carol Dweck, and I like things like Eckhart Tolle, and I read books like him. And it's just so important to keep a real positive mindset, because when you come home from work and you have to then put on the oven and you've got to bake, you've got to override those thoughts. I don't want to do it anymore. It's not going to be good. You really have to talk yourself off a ledge sometimes to get the work done. And so I think having a positive mindset. So I'm a positive person anyway. I prefer to see a glass half full than half empty. I have a very sort of like straight and narrow think, black and white way of looking at the world, and very sort of, if you want this, then you got to do this. It's as simple as that for me. There's no nitty gritty about it. If you want to be a successful cake business, you've got to do the work, and that is it. There's no way around it, really. So working on your mindset and making sure you understand why you're doing it. Don't get distracted by negativity. Read the books, do the work, and the other thing is your self care as well is really important. So if you're running your cake business and you find that you're exhausted, you're tired, you're miserable, then there's a clue there that something's not quite right, and you might need to make some changes. And that's what I've done in mine. I've had to make some changes along the way so I can carry on doing the thing that I love, but with a strong and positive mindset to help me get through it. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. I love this because you nailed it. Is that positive mindset. And that
Mm.
doesn't mean that we're always like, floating in clouds with
No,
unicorns, because that's
no, of
not life. There are days that you just
no.
feel bad, that you just
Course.
want to yell at somebody, that you're
Yeah.
frustrated. But it's just going back to that,
Mhm.
to that mindset, to know that it's
Mhm.
there. And it's like,
Mm.
okay, just let me yell at the wall, and then okay, just
Mhm.
go back to your center and
Yeah,
think, this is why you're doing it. So,
yeah.
and this is your
Mhm.
mindset. I love that you say that, because that actually makes the whole difference. And
Yeah,
I love the saying that said, you're not going to have a positive life without a positive mindset. I mean,
yeah,
otherwise it's like, forget it, it's not going to
yeah.
happen, right?
The two don't go
And you
together. It
mentioned
doesn't
so
work.
many things here. Yeah, it doesn't work. I wrote down a few things that you mentioned
Okay.
here. You mentioned imposter syndrome. You
Oh, yeah.
mentioned making changes in your business. And you
Yep.
mentioned setting boundaries and saying no. I
Yep.
mean, yes,
Yeah.
people, this is
Oh,
so
yeah.
important. So let's start with the first one, which is the
Okay.
imposter syndrome.
Okay. Yeah.
See, it's not only you in the other side of this microphone who's listening, who sometimes
Yeah.
still with it. We all do every
We
single
all do.
time,
We
isn't
all
it?
do. Yeah. Yeah. So my next episode of my podcast is going to be imposter syndrome. And the reason why is that I have a friend who doesn't believe it exists. So she's going to come on and talk about it. But I was talking to her because she knows me from my hospitality days, and she knows me to be this gung ho, go for it kind of person.
Mm.
And I told her I suffer from imposter syndrome. She looked at me as if to say, "What? what are you on about? I said, I do. I actually do. Starting the podcast, I'm like, who am I to think that I can do this podcast? Who's going to listen to me? And then you think, actually, I've got all these years of experience. I do
Yeah.
this, I do that. So I'm entitled. But then something on my shoulder says, no, who do you think you are? And even with running my business, it's like, wow, oh God, oh, I'm not sure, I'm not sure. And you sort of have to talk yourself out of it. And then you see, actually, no, you've got this wealth of
Hmm.
experience. You've been doing it for this amount of time. You've got these customers that love what you do. So why have you got imposter syndrome? But I think we're all guilty of it. But I think when I told one of my friends that I had it, she looked at me as if to say, no, I don't believe it. And I'm like, yes, I do. I have imposter syndrome. And I was listening to
Oh,
a
yeah,
podcast.
definitely.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day with Edward Enninful, who's the editor of Vogue, and he was talking about how his imposter syndrome
Okay.
made him go stratospheric. It was his driver to keep him going. And so I thought that's a bit, I think I've grabbed onto that little bit. It's that the imposter syndrome. I talked myself out of it and I'm like, you can do this. You know you can do it. So go and do it. And I think that's what happens. So the imposter syndrome sets in. I talk myself out of it and then I go on and do it. And then it sets in again. I talk myself out of it and go on and do it. And that's the cycle that I seem to follow when I'm doing things. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, you nailed it. It's like imposter syndrome happens to all
Yeah.
of us.
Definitely.
For me, it's usually more related with the craft work. When I see
Yeah.
modeling by somebody else or cakes by somebody else, I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing in life. Why am I posting these pictures? But then I go
Yeah.
back to my pictures, to my Instagram. It's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I have customers
Yeah.
who like them. But yeah, like you said, it's my drive to say,
Yeah.
okay, if I don't know it, I'm going to learn it. If I feel
Yes.
that I'm
Yeah.
not enough, I'm going to do more and learn more to be better. uh
Yes.
I guess it's just that little monster, and next to us
Yeah.
and talking
Yeah.
to our ear. But it's like, okay, you're there, so let me acknowledge you and let me do something about it and not just
Yeah.
dwell in it, like,
Yeah.
oh, because I'm not good enough. But we all suffer from that, and
We
it's
do.
funny because I had the chance to speak with people that we admire in the industry,
Mm.
people that we think is like, "Ah, they're gods, like they never suffer," and they do suffer from imposter syndrome, like
Yeah.
everybody else, because there are points that you just second guess everything that you do, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
what you do with it. The
Definitely.
second point you mentioned is changing if it's necessary, making
Mm.
pivoting or making a change either in yourself or in your business if you know that is not for you.
Yeah.
How do you do it, and would you recommend it?
Yeah. So for me, when I first started, I was as guilty as everybody else. I would take phone calls at all hours. I would answer emails at all hours. I was doing macarons. I was doing cake pops. I was doing this. I was doing that. Because you think as a business, that's what you're going to do. This is in the very early days. And then you start to realize, actually, I ain't feeling too good, or I'm working too late, or the kitchen's messy and I don't like it and I'm not feeling good about it, and I need to look after myself and I need to go to the gym and I want to go on holiday and I want to do this, and cake is taking over my life, it's taken over my world. So I had to really be honest with myself. Okay, what are we going to do here? How are we going to make things different? So I started off doing sugar paste cakes when I first started doing the business, and as we all know, using sugar paste and doing sugar paste cakes is very time consuming. It's a lot more, there's a lot more work to it, I think. And I used to do a lot of children's cakes with like a little
Mhm.
model work and things like that. And I would be working, coming home from work, and I would start at 7 o'clock in the evening and I would be working till 10, 11, midnight to get these cakes done.
Oh,
The
dear.
kitchen would be a mess. I'd go to bed. I'd have to get up at 6 o'clock. And this was my routine. And I thought, this can't work. And then I found that I wasn't enjoying the sugar paste work as much. The drip cake and the buttercream and the ganache star cake started coming through. I slowly started doing these and thinking I quite like doing these style of cakes as opposed to the sugar paste cake. So let me use social media to ask a question. So I went onto my Instagram polls and said it was like this or that. So I had a picture of a sugar paste cake, a picture of a drip cake, and like, which cake do you prefer? And I asked a few questions around that, and it came out that people were gearing more towards the buttercream and ganache. I thought, right, decision made. That's what I'm going to do. So I took all the sugar paste cakes off my Instagram and started to introduce the buttercream and ganache, changed my website so it had a way for people to pick elements that they could have on a cake. So pick your flavour, pick the elements, I'll prepare you a quote and send it forward. And what I found is when I shifted the amount of the style of cake that I did, my work, the amount of time that I spent working reduced vastly. And so I changed that. And then I changed the hours that I work because I thought, well, you're working too late into the night. You're missing out on stuff. You want to do your salsa. You can't be doing that at the same time. So you need to make some changes. So what I do, I come home from work. I get home about 4:30, and I start in the kitchen at 5:30, and I'll work till 7:30, and that is it. I stop. But doing the sugar paste and do the buttercream cakes, they only probably take me 2.5 hours to do. So I'm churning them out because I'm saving so much time that I've got time in the evening then to spend on my health and well-being. So go to the gym, go to salsa. Well, I'm not doing it as much now. Go in the garden, catch up with friends, go to the cinema. I've just had to just get the work-life balance and make all these little changes, contact times for customers and all these different things to make it work for me. But don't be if you're doing something and it's not making you happy, you need to make those changes because I was working, I was a busy fool. I was working far too hard and I just need to change. And the cakes that I'm doing now, the customers like them. I like them. I like the time that I spend doing them and so it suits me. So that's where I'm going to sit for the time being, I think. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Don't be afraid. I mean, I love your message of not being afraid of saying no and
Yeah.
changing because
Mm,
and you just said the key question. If what you're doing is making you stress and is not making you
mm,
happy, just
mm.
stop and
Yeah.
thinking and think if it's necessary, if you can change it. And I love also that you mentioned that you change completely from sugar paste to buttercream,
Mm,
because the
mm.
idea, or at least the idea of the cake decorators where I'm from, is that you have to do everything. You cannot
Yeah.
say no to a client. For example, if a client say, no, I want a cake with the buttercream, but I want the modeling in sugar paste, but I want
Mm,
cupcakes, macaroons, and cookies, and you have to do it
mm.
all,
Yeah. No.
because otherwise you're missing out. It's like, I'm going to
Yeah.
lose the customers. Like, no, no, no. There's people who do. I don't do macarons ever.
No.
I tried like 3 times in my life and it was a
Yeah.
mess. So I
Uh-huh.
have a friend who does it very beautifully and they taste great. So every
Mm.
time somebody asks me for macarons, like, yeah, sure, I'll call my friend and I'll give you whatever money she asks for. I'll tell you how much it is because I'm not going
Yeah.
to do the macarons. I mean,
Mm.
and it's possible. It's possible. It's less stressing. It's a possibility, I guess, is because people just don't think it is a possibility
Yeah.
to say no or to make
Mm,
changes in your
mm,
career to make it
mhm.
easier for
Yeah.
you and for your job and everything. And I mean, you work better. You're more relaxed.
Yeah.
You're happier. So yeah,
That's
definitely
why
recommend it.
that's why I
I
wanted to
mean,
stop doing the
yes.
wedding cakes as well. That's why I stopped doing the wedding cakes for that exact reason, was that I never
Mhm.
marketed myself as a wedding cake maker. I would just make them if people asked me. But what I found was I was either taking annual leave from work
Mhm.
to make wedding cakes, or I was working so many hours after work for like 5 days straight to make them. Then you've got to deliver. Then you've got to climb stairs to carry it and pick up the stand after. And just wasn't enjoying it. And I thought, you can't be honest with yourself, Yvonne. You can't do everything. You work in a job where sometimes you do weddings, so there's going to be a clash. So just put that one to bed and just like, things might change in the future. I don't know. But for now, wedding cakes is not for you. You need to concentrate on this particular area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For now,
Mm.
that's what's working for you. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Yvonne, what can we expect from you in the future?
Oh, well, I don't
What are
know. So
your
this is the
plans?
thing. Yeah, this is the thing. I don't know what my plans are for the business. I don't know whether I will, in another 5 years, it will be running still in the same guise that it is now. I'm a woman of a certain age, and it's just like, do I want to keep going at full pelt? Will I change? I don't think I'll rebrand because I did that in 2016. I don't know. I'd like to say that I did. And if it was 10 years ago, I'd have a very clear path of what I wanted to do, like I did 10 years ago. But because my wife and my
Okay.
business have changed so much, it feels now to me that my business is more of a lifestyle business, and that it has to be run
Hmm.
alongside my life now. So I think I'd like to dip my toe more into the passive income.
Got it.
I don't know, have no aspiration to be a coach. I don't want to be a cake coach or anything like that. But I think I'd like to do some more work on the passive income and maybe write a recipe book or a few more books maybe, and put everything that I know about cake, and yeah, just see where the future holds. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm one of these people. If there's an opportunity, I'll go for it. So I'd like to say, oh yeah, I've got a plan for the next 5 years, but no, I don't. I don't really. Yeah,
Okay. But I mean, you already did. You already planned.
yeah,
The thing is, you're living it right now. You're living the
yes,
result of
that's
your
it.
plan before.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's also, that is
definitely.
also important.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Because I
Yeah,
mean, we're
because
constantly planning and planning and planning, and sometimes chasing the next shiny object and
yeah,
not really enjoying the result
yeah,
of what we planned for.
yeah,
So that's also great. And I would
yeah,
love to I mean, to see more books from you, because I'm sure you
yeah,
will be able to help a lot of people in the community. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely,
It's
definitely.
taken a long time
Yvonne,
to get to this
one
to
final
this.
question that I always. Oh yeah.
No,
No, tell
sorry,
me,
I
tell
was just
me.
saying
Sorry.
it's taken a long time to get to where I am now. That I'm comfortable with my branding, I'm comfortable with my ideal
Mm-hmm.
client, I'm comfortable with my website and how I'm operating. This, where I am now, is a culmination of like 8 to 10 years worth of work and sweat and tears and everything. I just feel relaxed where I am now. Just really, everything's just going as it should. Yeah,
Oh, I love it and enjoy it, because
yeah,
it's all about, you always heard it's all about the journey, but you think
yeah,
it's journey upwards. It's actually the journey upwards, and when you get there, enjoy when you are as well,
yes,
right? It's
yeah,
not just keep running in this treadmill that doesn't get you anywhere. It's just enjoy it, enjoy where you are.
yeah,
I'm so happy that you are at that stage,
yeah.
and I wish for a lot of you to be in that stage as well, where you're so comfortable with your business is running and everything is going smoothly. Yvonne, I usually give a last question to my guest here in the podcast. It's a funny question. If you
Mm.
could bake a cake for anyone famous, dead or alive, who would it be? And what would the cake look like?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question, isn't it? Um, if I could make a
Yeah,
question,
it's a funny one.
that's a really hard question, is it? Um, I, I'd like to make a cake for maybe Barack Obama for his birthday, maybe the ex-president of the United
Okay.
States. I'd like
Okay.
to, yeah, I think, yeah, I'd have to. It
Yeah.
probably have to be really, yeah. I think, yeah. He just sprung to mind, so there must be a reason why he sprung to mind. It's either that or Idris Elba. But yeah, I think it would be Barack Obama. I think he would have to have something quite
Okay. Either
citrusy.
one is great.
I think he would have to have a cake that was quite citrusy, so maybe something light and lemony. I think for Barack, I don't think he wants too much fuss, but I think off the top of my head, that would be the person that I'd probably make a cake for. Yeah, definitely something simple. Yeah,
Oh, I love it. I love it. I like that. I like the spontaneous answers, because people usually get like, I don't know. But then it's the
yeah,
first person that comes to the top of your head.
yeah,
It's like, who would that
yeah.
be? And that's great. That's great. That's great. And I
Be
love
the
when you
person.
think about what would the cake look like, or what would it taste like. We're thinking of the
Yeah,
personality of the person.
yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. Oh, Yvonne, it
You're
has
welcome.
been such a blast having you here in the show. And I cannot wait to be in yours and just keep
Yeah,
the conversation going. We didn't mention anything about social media, so maybe we should do that in your show, talking a little bit
yeah,
about the social media, because I know we both have the same approach of
yeah,
not having millions and millions of followers, but
yeah.
nurturing
That will work.
your
Yeah,
following on social media.
definitely,
So stay tuned,
definitely.
guys, and go check Yvonne's podcast, because we're certainly going to be talking about that. I will
Mm.
be leaving all the links here for her books, her businesses, her podcast, so you can go listen and support. Because remember, the idea is to support all of us. It's not because I'm doing it so nobody else can have a podcast. As I mean, actually, there are not many cake podcasts out there,
There isn't. There
right?
isn't. In the UK, I can think of three. and that's including myself in the UK. And then there's yours, that's four. So
Yeah.
that's four that I
Yeah.
listen to. There isn't many, and for me, being a woman of colour as well, a black woman, I don't know another black woman podcaster that's talking about cake, and so that was important for me to be able to share my voice and invite other people of different heritage and cultures to come on and talk about their businesses and what they do in the cake world as well, because it is a multicultural industry that we work in. So I think it needs to reflect all these different people that are
Oh,
within that industry
absolutely.
as well. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We have a big in Cake Friends Stay Creative. We have a big community from people all around the world,
Yeah.
and it's great. I love one of the things that I love about the group is how all of us, regardless of, I mean, age, gender, preferences, color, religion, you name it, we're all there for the
Yeah.
cake. So it's a
Yeah.
party. We're all there for the
Absolutely.
cake. That's
Definitely.
it. Yeah, and everybody's
Definitely.
happy, everybody's sharing. I mean, that's what cake's supposed to be. Cake's supposed to make you happy. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I love that you're doing it. I love that, and and I wish really there's more people, trying to reach their communities and putting their voices out there, because each one of us have a different thing to say, and it's all
Definitely.
valid, and we all complement each other's information, and the idea is just to keep this community growing. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Yvonne, for being
Thank
here
you for having
today.
me
I
on.
cannot
Thank
thank you enough. Thank you for answering my call first on social media. I think I posted on Instagram. You were the only
Yeah.
one who answered through Instagram, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, okay, yeah,
and
yeah.
I
But,
loved it.
it's the first
Yeah,
podcast I've ever
yeah.
been on as well, so thank you so much for inviting me on. I've had a blast. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, sweetie. My pleasure for sure. Thank you so much. And well, everyone, a lot of takeaways from this episode today. Just keep your notebook on, because you're going to write. I mean, I hope you wrote everything, or at least a few of the things that Yvonne mentioned about, setting your boundaries, about don't overworking, uh, organize your business, organize your working hours. It's not just me, the one that's saying it. It's like other people are thinking about that too. Thank you so much, Siri, for being here. And thank you to all of you for listening. This is it for today. And I will leave you, my friends, as I always leave you. Stay safe and stay creative. Bye, sweetie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
My sweet, sweet friend, if you liked this episode, if you love this podcast, I will kindly, kindly ask you to leave me a started review, whatever you're listening to this episode, that is available on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and I think a couple of other ones. But in any of those, just leave me a review, leave me a couple of stars or 5 stars if you like it. So people will find this episode, the algorithm would put it out there, and more of our K community will benefit from it. Share it with your friends. Download the episode and share them. Share them on your social media and tag me, because I will answer you back. Of course, I will. And send me comments, send me your review, send me your feedback. Even if you don't agree with anything that I say, I would love to hear your opinion. You can find me in any of my social media accounts. I will be leaving the links here on this episode description. I'm on Facebook as The Art Cake Experience. I am on Instagram at Christina_The Art Cake Experience, or you can even find me on YouTube, my YouTube channel, The Art Cake Experience channel. So thank you so much for listening, and please, please, please leave me your review and leave me your comments and your feedback. I would love to hear what you have to say about any of this episode.